The 4Ds are essentially the 4 key bits of information you need to know about your route from A to B. Let me take you through them.
I'm currently sat underneath a tree on this hill at this junction. I want to get to Hill End Farm Woodlands, which is here where I'm going to have some lunch. I'm going to use the 4Ds to keep me on track and make sure I get from A to B without getting lost. Now the first D is direction. So what direction do I go from my point here to get to my end goal? Now what I'm going to do is do a bearing. We covered bearings a little bit earlier on, but I'll do another one. I'm going to line up the edge of my compass with the first bit of the path I'm going to take. I'm not going to walk as the crow flies, so I'm not going to go straight across. I'm going to be following this path line. So I need to do a bearing on the first part of the path that is eventually going to take me there. If I need to do bearings further along the way, then I will. But let's go from where we are right now. So using the edge of my compass, I'm going to line that up along the path, making sure that my direction of travel arrow is facing the way that I want to go down this path. At that point, I'm then going to line up my orienting lines with the grid lines on the map, making sure they are lined up nicely to the top of the map. So I'm going to use this blue line, which I can see in the middle of my bezel. I'm going to line up my lines with that. So now that's done, I'm going to take the compass off, and all I need to do is put red in bed. So that's the red needle in the red arrow of my orienting lines. So I'm going to do that, and now my direction of travel arrow is going to tell me I need to go this way. And that's kind of in that direction. So that's my bearing. The next D is going to be distance. And I'm going to measure each section of this path I'm going to take. I'm going to use the Roman scales to do that. And as you can see on my compass, I've got 4 different scales. I've got a 1 for a 1 to 25,000 map, 1 for 1 to 50,000, 1 to 40,000, and 1 to 24,000. I'm using a 1 to 25,000 OS map, so I'm going to use my 1 to 25,000 Roman scale. And I'm going to use it as if I'm using a ruler and just measure from each section to where I'm going to get to. I'm not going to measure in a straight line because that's not where I'm walking. So I'm going to measure along here. And that's about 300 meters to this linear feature. And then there's another 400 meters to this bend. 100 meters to get to Hogshaw Hill Farm from the bend. About 200 meters to get to this little curve. And then 200 meters to get down to the road where I will then have my woodland. So I know that that's around about 1200 meters, 1200 meters, or 1.2 kilometers. So now my next D is going to be description. What am I looking for along the way? What is along my route that I can tick off when I hit it to say, yep, I know I'm going in the right direction. So I'm going to head off in this direction because that's what my bearing has told me to do. And I'm going to hit this linear feature. Now that's either going to be a hedge or a fence, could be a wall, could be anything, but it'll be a man-made feature. And hopefully there'll be a stile or a gate there. From there I'm going to be following the path along the hill, where you can see these contour lines. It's quite flat, but it gradually drops down to this bend. And then we've got a steep drop as we drop down to Hogshaw Hill Farm. At Hogshaw Hill Farm, I'll be picking up this track. And I'm going to be following it all the way around. I should be expecting to find a bend. And then a really nice straight section to the road and then the woods. So I'm going to use those features as a bit of a tick-off point mentally to tick it off when I get there. So I'm going to come down here and say, yep, I've hit this fence line. That's great. That's what I'm expecting to find. Walking along this hill to this tight bend. Great. Tick that off. Hogshaw Hill Farm. Tick. All the way down the track to this bend. Tick. To the road. Tick. Lunch. In the woods. Now I know that as I'm ticking these bits off, it's confirming that I'm going the right way and I'm staying on track. The final D is duration. So putting all of that together, we know how long our route should take us. Now I've got a timing card, and we know that the route is approximately 1200 metres, and we've got a little bit of descent, and it's a bit icy. So 1200 metres should take me 15, 16, 17, 18 minutes. I'm probably going to add another minute for that just for the terrain. I'm just going to say 19 minutes. Now, if I'm still going in 22 minutes, 25 minutes, I know that something has potentially gone wrong and I need to stop and just reassess my location. So all of those things put together will help me get from A to B. I can set a timer on my watch for 19 minutes. I've got my bearings set, and that's going to send me down my road, and all I'm doing is ticking off all these points as I go along. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so I've got my bearing set from when I did my first D, so all I'm going to do now is put red in bed and follow it to my first gate. That is in that direction. So here I am at my first tick-off point, which is that gate. Now I know that I just need to follow this hill across, and I've got a tight left corner which will take me down to Hogshaw Hill Farm. So I've got a tight left corner here which drops down, and I've got Hogshaw Hill Farm just at the bottom of the hill. So now I'm going in the right direction still, and I know that my next point after that farm is the track, which will then eventually take me down to my woodlands. So I've come off the hill now, I've got the farm just up here, and I'm on the track. So I know that I want to head down this way. There should be a bend in the track, and then my woodlands ahead. Okay, so I've just come round that slight bend in the track, and now I've got a really nice dead straight track with my woodland at the end of it, and lunch. So as you can see, I've just reached the end of the track where it meets the road, and here is the entrance to my woodland. So I'm going to go have some lunch. So here I am at my end point. Going to have some lunch now, but that all took 90 minutes and 45 seconds, so the timing wasn't too bad either. So that is the 4 Ds. We worked out our direction. We measured the distance. We looked for all those tick-off features, so the description along the way. And then we've finally timed it as well. So we've got our duration. We were aiming for somewhere around 19 to 20 minutes. 19 minutes and 45 seconds isn't too bad, is it? And that's the 4 Ds.